Então tá. Bom dia, Pedro.
Bom
Oh,
dia, bom dia.
actually, we need to speak in English, right?
Oh my goodness. All right, let's
Is that
do it.
okay? All right. So good morning. Where are you now, Pedro?
Actually, for me, it's afternoon. I'm 2 o'clock, 2:10 here at Dallas, Texas. Actually, Flower Mound, Texas.
Okay, so yeah, I'm 3 hours from you. I'm in Bastrop, close to Austin, Maybe 3 hours and a half. So I heard that I know you for a very short time, but I was very interested in interviewing you, especially about the adventure trip that you endeavor a few years ago. Could you tell us more about it?
Well, I got several adventure motorcycle trips, but the one that I did that was very unique is with my kids. But I also done a motorcycle trip that I started going to Alaska, to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. I did a trial run, and then from Seattle, Washington, I rode all the way through U.S., Central, South America, all the way to my hometown of Rio de Janeiro. So that was a big one.
Wow.
But the one that you asked me a few years back is with my kids. I have three kids. They all ride motorcycles: Peter, Mariana, and Lucas. By this time, Mariana could not join, so just the boys. It was me, Peter, and Lucas. We flew from Seattle to San Diego, and I had previously went to Mexico. I just crossed the border walking and bought three motorcycles that nobody even know the motorcycle name. I asked everybody if they know this motorcycle brand. It calls Italica. So
Right.
the Italica motorcycle is a Mexican brand, and I bought three 125cc bikes, and you can see that on YouTube called Baja Bound episode 1 through episode 6. So if you type
Yeah. I'm
Baja
gonna
Bound,
put in the description all the links that we
cool.
talked about. Don't worry about spelling
But
them.
but but anyway, that trip was awesome because we crossed the border walking. The bikes were ready there. A friend of mine kept the bikes on his dad's house, and there were three Italica motorcycles, 125s, like the old Brazilian CG 125,
Right.
and we outfit with a pizza delivery box, put all our junk inside the box, and we went down southbound Baja, Mexico for a couple weeks. So that
Wow.
was a awesome experience.
And why did you choose such a low cylinder motorcycle?
That's what did now the technology, the motorcycles are so complex, so technologically advanced, but also they are extremely expensive, right? You buy a BMW in US, by the time you outfit the bike's 20 plus thousand. By the time you walk out the store, the motorcycles cost you $30,000, right?
Right.
And
The price of almost like the price of a Tesla car.
oh yeah, these are very expensive. And if it's not a BMW, now they have Hondas, but they all in the 20 plus thousand.
Right.
And I want to prove to my kids, like, okay, I have to be a rich guy to have fun on two wheels. So I
Right.
decided, okay, why don't we go back to the basics? And the basics for me was my first motorcycle, which, by the way, I still have in Brazil. Is
Oh,
a
really?
Yamaha 125 two-stroke DT, and is
How
125.
old were you how old were you there in Brazil when you had the bike?
I was on my teens. It was my first bike, and it was my dream bike at the time in the 1970s. And my dad gave me that, and I kept the bike. I never sold the bike. But
Wow.
again, 125. So the question was, why such a small bike? Because I said,
Right.
hey, we'll be able to have as much fun.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you're not going to go as fast, doesn't have the technology.
How fast can you go?
With the wind behind you, probably 55 miles an hour.
Oh, that's the max. Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
but keep in mind, when you have a motorcycle trip like that, this is a journey. It's not from point A to point B. It's more
Yeah.
like a everyday riding. You don't need the big speed. You don't need to go fast. You actually want to go slow. You want to enjoy the scenery. You want to have fun. And the three bikes being the same, it was kind of fun because you're kind of racing each other, but the
Right.
top speed of a 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, interesting.
Really cool.
Wow, interesting. So how long did that trip took and from where to where?
So we start again. We flew from Seattle to San Diego, physically walk. We crossed the border to Mexico walking. You
Yeah,
see
I've
that?
been there, Tijuana, right? I
Yeah,
did
you
that.
just walk
Yeah.
across. We got a taxi cab, or we could be get an Uber, pick up the bike, and that was right during Christmas in 2017. Actually, actually, it's going by so fast. But then we crossed the border and we went down Baja Peninsula to a town called Mulaje, Mexico. And
Hmm.
in Mulaje, we did a U-turn because we want to get back. We actually end up leaving the bikes in Mexico, sold a couple of those bikes, and I donate one of the bikes to the guy that helped me do all the paperwork.
Hmm.
And the guy actually is using the bike to do a Uber Eats. So something nice
Oh,
that
that's nice.
we
Yeah.
gave the guy a tool to make money.
So, okay, so you went to Mexico and then you got a bike in Baja, but then you traveled to where? It's not clear for me.
So Baja Mexico, if you look at the map, right, it's just a little sliver. So
Right.
we came to the coast, the highway to the coast, and then coming back, we did a little loop and come to a different way. By the way, Baja Mexico, you only have a couple roads. It's not much to choose from.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Google Maps, and then we try to follow the path of a very famous race in Mexico they call Baja 1000. Is an off-road mecca
I
of
think I
freeloads.
heard. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. So we went to Mike's Sky Ranch. We went to Coco's Corner, and this is all well-known sites for. If you love motorcycle racing, I used to race on my young days, enduro, and that is the epic race called Baja
Right.
1000.
The off-road, right?
Mhm.
Wow, so interesting. So how long did you travel in that trip with
That was
those
2 weeks.
motorcycle?
That was a 2 weeks.
Weeks? That's cool.
Contrary to the trip to Brazil, which took me from Seattle to Rio de Janeiro, 52 days from door to door.
Oh my God, how many countries did you cross?
Gosh, there was like 12, 12 countries. Yeah, so it was all Central America, and then Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and then I went to the top of Peru. Didn't go to Bolivia. Went to Acre, Rondônia, Goiás, São Paulo, and Rio.
Oh, so you got the Trans-Amazonica? The
No, not
Trans-Amazon?
quite, not
No?
quite. From Lima, you go to Cusco and you go straight north to Acre, right
Right.
over to Bolivia. Never crossed Bolivia, and then I went across, Brazilian states to
Okay.
get to Rio.
Zoom is asking me to confirm the idiom. I think I put Portuguese. I'm gonna see if I can put English here. English. Okay, English. Okay, great. Wow. So interesting. Yeah? And how did you handle the visas of all those countries?
Okay. First of all, I'm a U.S. citizen, right? So I travel with my U.S. passport,
Right.
and there's no visa required.
Oh, for any of the countries until Brazil?
Except Brazil.
Except Brazil, yeah. Uh-huh. So I'm interested in knowing like what internal impulse or dream made you have those trips, both the Mexico and the one from Alaska to Rio?
You,
Like
you
what
know,
motivated you?
I don't know. I think it's our Portuguese blood being a natural explorers, right? But since I was a little kid, I like to travel, I like to explore. I used to go in Brazil, I hitchhike all over. I just like the challenge. And I think if you look at life in a whole, you always on the next adventure, right? It's always the next challenge. What makes people not do that, unfortunately, is fear. People are fearful. And which is silly, right? Because you never know. You can cross the street and get hit by a bus. You never know.
And not
So
everybody can do that because of their jobs, and also it might be some investments, right?
disagree. 100% disagree.
Hmm?
I think anyone can do it. And that's why I decided to do the trip to Mexico on a 125. Because if I follow your thought process of, oh, you have to have the time, you have to have the money, yeah, of course. You know, if you're rich and famous, you don't have, you know, you can have a car following you, a mechanic, you know, having a whole support group. But and a lot of Brazilians are doing that. I've seen
Yeah.
several guys traveling in 125, and they're not rich guys.
I'm thinking about my wife here because her job, she worked for a corporation and she has 5 weeks per year of vacation, but she can only take 2 weeks at a time. So two
Well,
weeks is like 15 days. She could never do this trip. Like,
life is about choices.
yeah,
Life is
exactly.
about choices.
Yeah,
If that's something you don't want to do, and you decide to make that your priority, you
you're
got to
right.
tell your employer, look, I want to take a sabbatical. If you don't hire
Hey,
me back, you don't hire me
ha-
back.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Have you read the book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance?
You know, many people told me about this book, but I have not. I have not.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a father traveling with a son, and it's a pretty deep book, pretty deep, a little dark too, but it's beautiful, you know.
No,
I suggest it to
I
read
should,
when you
I should
can.
check on
Yeah,
that, but no, I did not. But back to what
yeah.
you said, and I think that's what paralyzed people in
The
terms of
fear. Yeah.
your life is
Mm-hmm.
the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give a classic example here. There's a good friend of mine. His name is Bill. He was
Mm-hmm.
the guy most financially capable of doing this trip,
Mm-hmm.
most financially capable because of time and money, and he didn't do the trip with me because of fear.
Wow.
The guy had a
He
lot
had
of money, the
he
guy had the time, and he couldn't do it. The fear
So
paralyzed
do
the
you
guy.
know what kind of fear he had of gangs in the South and Latin America or something, or just the adventure itself?
I think it's the fear in general, right? Each person has their own issues of the brain that paralyzes you, right? So
Mhm.
then people use the obvious to be the excuse. Oh, my wife only have 5 weeks at a time and she can only travel to do well because that's what she has right now. But she wanna go travel, she could save some money or throw in a visa and pay later.
Or negotiate with the boss or something, you never know, right?
I mean, so he's I don't know what his fear was, but he couldn't go. Even recently, you know, I asked him to do something else, and the guy is always paranoid about something happen.
Huh,
You know,
interesting. So, where did you sleep during your trip?
awesome question. Advice for everybody traveling. In my opinion, if you travel in the United States, because like I said, I've been to US so many places in US. I've done Alaska twice, up and down Oregon, California, Washington coast, everywhere. And I've done 4 trips to Mexico. Okay. So my advice is US, if you want to camp, beautiful camping grounds, safe, nice, right? With
Hmm.
nice infrastructure, bathroom, hot water. And that is the weight of the camping gear and all the good stuff. South America, you can stay in a hostel for $10 a night. In a camping ground here in US, now you probably pay $30, $40 a night. So for $10, you can stay in a hostel or a cheap motel for way less money than camping.
Hmm.
Plus, will be safer that way. You don't have the hassle of pitching the tent, getting all ready the next day. So south of the border, no tent, hotel, motel, and hostels. Hostels are great.
Right.
And most of the hostels, they are already expecting guys in motorcycles, and they actually let you even park the bike inside of a hostel. In Nicaragua,
Oh, because they could steal the bike, right? Or
yeah,
maybe.
so you actually, and that's one thing that you gotta, you know, not that I'm paranoid about getting mugged, but the first thing, your health, right? Keep
Mhm.
yourself healthy, hydrated, eat well, sleep well. Second is the safety of your equipment and the safety of your bike. Because if you lose the bike, the trip is over, right?
So what bike did you use from Alaska to Rio?
That was a Suzuki called V-Strom, and I traveled with a 1000, which, by the way, a 650 is plenty. Actually, it'd be even a better bike. It would save me a couple $1,000 in gasoline. But at the time, I thought the 1000 would be a better bike. But now, in retrospect, a 650 bike would be just fine.
How does the bike look? Is that bike that you can almost like lay on the bike or something?
Now the bike, now, motorcycle now, like everything, like a car, has all different categories, right? The motorcycle that I ride, it calls the adventure bike. So
Right,
the most known bike is the BMW GS, but
right.
the V-Strom is the poor main version of the BMW. You can buy a Suzuki bike for half of a BMW. And
But
by
it
the
does the
way,
job. It does the
will
job.
do the same job, but
Right.
they carry aluminum bags, right? So they're all
Oh,
sealed. So I had three bags, two side bags and a rear bag, and I
okay.
carry everything inside of those bags.
Hmm.
By the way, the website about the trip is Redmond to Rio on
Uh-huh.
YouTube. If you want to take a look,
You mean the video, right? The video.
yeah, the video is called Redmond to Rio, and there was also a Facebook page called Redmond to Rio.
Do you also have a website? Because you mentioned
No,
website.
Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Facebook and YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, Redmond to Rio,
Okay.
and that's where I pretty much documented the whole trip.
Hmm. 52 days. Wow.
Yeah, door to door.
Yeah, I love camping too. In the US, we have camped a lot and we love hot springs. We like chasing hot springs. The only thing with the US with camping that we experience is when it's hot, it's really hot and it's hard to be in a tent to heat.
Yeah,
I have brought fans and everything, but it's even better in the cold because we can, be in a sleeping bag or something. And the other
yeah,
thing with camping, like when I camp in beaches and the wind is so strong, I already like broke canopies, and the tent flopped and everything. So it's all a learning process.
yeah. But again, when you're traveling, we better get some good equipment because
Right.
you don't have to, spend a few more dollars and buy the right gear. That's what
Yeah.
I see people making that mistake. I remember in Alaska, this guy uh, on from Texas, actually funny. I'm there. I'm at a gas station making a little tea because it was like 0 degrees, as cold as you could get, and it was raining, so it's not snowing. And this guy stopped by with the cowboy boots, right? And he's like shivering. Do you have some plastic bags? And so I spent $500 on a Gore-Tex boot, completely waterproof. But my feet was dry. So
Right.
when you have to buy the proper gear. That's
Yeah.
something that is a must.
Yeah. What helped, we were camping Corpus Christi. There was a big wind, very strong wind, and that what helped was the dollar store. I bought all the gear to protect. I bought like a what's the name of tarp, put the
Yeah.
tarp, on side and
Uh-huh.
everything. And I always travel with instant tent because if it's rainy, you just flop, and it's instantly. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So Pedro, you are Brazilian like me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so could you tell us a little bit about your experience in immigrating from Brazil to the US? When was that and how was that? I know it might be a long story.
That can be another podcast.
Well, we have a lot of hours. If we can
Okay.
use all of them.
No, no. So back to the anti-fear guy, right?
Yeah.
I decided that I want to explore the opportunity to come to US, and I finished my degree in architecture. I'm from Rio, and my dad always told me, it would be good for me to learn English, be fluent with the language. But you know how it goes. You're learning English, taking classes in you're never fluent, right? You never.
Yeah, you have to converse. You have to talk to somebody and be in the environment.
And then being a explorer, like I told you, I decided to sell everything. I sold everything that I had to my dad. I had a big
To your
drum.
dad?
I said, Dad, I'm gonna sell everything that I earned it to this point, and I'm gonna go to US.
How old are you?
I was 20-some years old. I finished college.
Oh, 27. That's good.
24, not even 20, 24. Sold, I had an architectural firm that I opened, left with a couple friends, sold my car, my Vespa, my motorcycle, my tools, everything to my dad, and decided to come to US and see what's going to happen in 6 months to see if I could, get to a graduate school. At that time, no internet, no Google, no nothing. So I just jump in, end up landing in Miami.
Did you know anybody there in the US?
Yeah, my dad actually was an architect as well, and one of his best friends was an architect for Nicaragua
Oh, that's cool.
that had just immigrated from Nicaragua to US because of the war, the Sandinistas, that's 87, right? That's quite a few years.
Yeah, wow.
So I stayed with him, but again, Miami was great because I started learning Spanish because nobody speaks English in Miami, by the way. I don't know if you've been there, but
Yeah, I
if,
know.
if you wanna learn Spanish, move to Miami. It's a good place to
Right.
learn Spanish. And then from there I decided to go. I had another connection in San Jose, California.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved to San Jose and just kind of making 30-some years here in a very short time. And that meeting my ex-wife. And at that time, she was doing an internship for IBM in San Jose. At the time, remember, IBM was a monster, right? It was like
Yeah, in
everybody
87.
was your.
That was the Microsoft of those times, right?
Oh yeah, there was no Google, there's no Amazon, there's no Microsoft. So IBM was the company. So I met her, fall in love, and then I packed my bag and up in Washington State. That's why Seattle.
So your ex, American or Brazilian?
American.
Okay.
From
It's like
Washington. And that's why I follow her.
from Washington. Okay, got
That's
it.
how I ended up in Seattle. So I went to Washington, and at the time, to extend my visa, I want to be in graduate school. Was
Right.
able to be accepted to Washington State University, moved to Washington.
So you did graduate in architecture too?
Yeah, yeah. And then I got a master's in Washington State. Correct.
Okay. Because I have a friend from Belo Horizonte. He just validated his diploma from UFMG and to practice architecture in the US. Did you try to validate your diploma here, or you try to start from scratch here?
No, but first of all, in order to apply to graduate school, I had to do all the paperwork, right?
Right.
So I had to have a certified translator, get the whole paperwork done, apply for Washington State and University of Idaho. They both had architecture school, and then get accepted on both schools. But at the time, my ex-wife was already at Washington State. We were there nearby.
Right.
So I start graduate school. But keep in mind that to become a licensed architect in the United States, regardless of you get your diploma, you have to go through a bunch of red tape to become a licensed architect.
Oh, yeah, you have like some internship, right?
Internship, and you got to pass this grueling test.
Really?
The test to become a licensed architect in the United States was 12 hours.
Yeah, he's doing that too. Yeah, it was not so easy. Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of translating your diploma and your classes. You gotta go through
And paying a lawyer, pay an attorney.
grueling. No, the test is the killer.
Right.
Passing to get your license here is really hard.
But you got it. You ended up. Which university you ended up going?
Courageous and persistence is one of my
Right.
things that don't give up, right?
Right. Yeah. And then you ended up going to what university again?
Washington State.
Washington State University.
Yeah, which is right at the border between the state of Washington and the state of Idaho.
Did you get the grunge scene at those times, or it was too early?
Did what?
The grunge scene in Seattle? Nirvana, Pearl Jam. Did you?
Yeah, that was the time. Yeah, that was the time.
Oh yeah. I think they were starting
like
there,
the
right?
80s, right?
Yeah,
Late 80s.
late 80s. And that was Ronald Reagan president, right?
Yeah, exactly right. That was Reagan. That's why the Nicaraguan people loved him, because Reagan was against the communists, right?
Right. So tell us about your architectural career a little bit. Like
Well,
how?
again, back to the not being fearful, right? I came here, and of course, you have to adapt because everything is different, right? I mean,
Right.
how long you been living here,
I
Moses?
have been since 2002.
2002. So
I
you,
LA first, and then 2005 moved to Bay Area. Then I married my wife right away. In 1 week after moving to Bay Area, I met her. And then in a month, we were living together. And then I was doing a master's degree in the Bay Area in psychology because I'm an
right,
architect too, but I also did a master's in psychology. And then in 2008, we said, okay, California is too expensive. We wanted to buy a house and it's too crowded. And she has always lived there. Where do we go? We did a research in Google. Austin was in first place of everything.
yeah.
And then we decided to come 2008. So it's
So,
2008
so you've been here for a while. So
for a
you can
while.
tell to the people watching the podcast that the entire construction technique here is completely different in Brazil, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's all wood frame construction. And then for architects, is no centimeters and meters anymore. Now you're dealing with inches and feet and yards. So my career here it was pretty intense. Have to learn all that, but I start working with the small companies as I was doing my Washington State degree in architecture, my master's, and then after I graduate, I moved to Seattle, and then I started working for the license exam.
right.
And I was the architect for a company called Costco. Are you familiar with Costco?
You mean the supermarket, the
Yeah,
hypermarket? Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
Yeah. So Costco is a beast. For guys that don't know Costco, is because you don't live in the United States, because everybody knows Costco, right? So I
What is
became
the equivalent of Costco in Brazil, for example? Macro, right? Macro?
macro will be the one, Sam's Club.
Oh, they have in Brazil. Okay.
Apparently Sam is there. But anyway,
Mhm.
is the box store. So why I'm telling you that? Just telling my architecture career, right? So
Yeah,
work for them, and I became in charge of designing the mega distribution centers in US, Canada, and Mexico.
that's cool.
And then in the meantime, working to acquire my architectural license because I want to be on my own.
Right.
So
And I guess at Costco, you didn't have much range of creativity too, right?
you
Or
know,
did you?
a lot of people say that, but architecture has different facets, right? You can there's several things you can do in architecture,
Mhm.
and I think the most valuable one is not just the creative, is now dealing with the bureaucracy,
Mm. You
dealing with
mean
the
for approval, permits?
approvals. I mean, it's nice to be the creative architect, right? And you see the magazines, the cool house, and the cool building, but at the end of the day, getting uh, selecting sites, finding the proper conditions to build, the right materials, and all of that, regardless of the design, is a
Mhm.
lot of challenges and a lot of challenge, as you can tell.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
creativity is not only in terms of aesthetics, it's also in terms of logistics, circulation
Well,
and
and that's the thing.
practicity.
I developed the distribution center with the top guy at Costco at the time, and Costco did not have that. Keep in mind, that was early 90s, and Costco was founded in 83. So Costco was in their infancy when I started in the
Oh,
90s. So I was able to develop the whole prototype.
that's
So from
cool.
Mexico to US and Canada. So
So
I took
a lot of people that love Costco have to be grateful to you.
well, yeah, because if it were not a distribution center, they would not have the goodies on the store, right? So
Right.
so, but during that period, I was studying very hard, like I told you, to get my degree, my architectural license. And when I got that in year 2000, I opened my
Mhm.
own company.
That's cool.
So I've been on my own since 2000.
Yeah. And we have a friend in common, Luis, which is an architect in LA, and he said that you're pretty much of an entrepreneur, more than an architect today, was more an entrepreneur, right? Or no?
Entrepreneurship, something that I always love. You know, even in Brazil, I remember in college, I team up with a friend of mine designing dress shirts, right, and selling. I
Oh,
always,
wow.
and now I'm actually talking about architecture. Now I'm venturing to another frontier, another challenge, another adventure.
Uh-huh.
I actually, I can see if you guys can see the
Mo
head here.
you know,
But
your camera keeps changing the light a lot. I don't know if that's a
oh,
setting you can
I
make
don't know. It might be the
that the
setting
camera
here.
more stable, you know?
Let me see. But
Yeah.
let me see if I turn off this light.
It's like the camera is trying to adapt itself to the light.
Let me see if I turn this off. It's better. Is it
Yeah,
better now?
it's yeah, I think it's more stable, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't,
Yeah, I think when you approach the camera, you got a little light. It's very sensitive. But
so
anyway,
anyway,
what you were saying?
but
Your hat, something about your hat?
no, my hat. I was just showing that, you know, if you read here,
Mota, Mota,
Mota, called
Pousada Mota.
Pousada Mota. So
What is pousada in English?
bed and breakfast.
Ah, okay. So
So
that's your new
again,
venture
back to the fear, right? Everybody. So
or lack of fear, right?
oh, lack of fear. I know I do have a fear, but I can control my fear and overcome my fear. Everybody has
Yeah,
fear, right? Everybody.
everybody, yeah, yeah.
But I overcome my fear by
Thanks God we have, because if we didn't have, we would all like kill ourselves, you know, or let
oh
ourselves
man,
be killed.
we'll be jumping on a cliff without having a problem. But the idea of the Pousada Mota is another adventure. I call it
Uh-huh.
another challenge. And I decided to open this pousada in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
So
Where?
this is one of my new gig is in Petrópolis, which is outskirts of Rio.
Oh, I
And
have a great friend that lives there.
yeah,
Yeah. Her name is Margarida. Margarida.
so it's
Yeah.
between Petrópolis and Miguel Pereira, which is another cool town now that's been
Okay.
very popular, in the middle of the jungle. And we just actually opened the Pousada Mota this December. So it's
And
fresh.
and correct me if I'm wrong, Petropolis, unlike Rio, is more in the mountains, right?
Yeah. The Pousada Mota is in the outskirts of Petrópolis. It is 1,200 meters above sea level.
Okay. So if somebody wants to stay there and visit Rio, how long is from there to Rio, to the beaches?
Okay, from downtown Rio to the Pousada, not very far at all, is 1 hour to Petropolis, nice asphalt road. But then from Petropolis to the Pousada, you have to get to some dirt roads,
Right.
which, in my opinion, makes this place so unique, right? If everybody want to go on asphalt roads from point A to point B, forget that's not your destination.
Right.
But because it's remote, it's in a villa with 200 people, in the middle of the jungle, has monkeys around, that is
Wow.
toucans, that is armadillo, that is beautiful. It's all preserved, and they were able to have this villa built probably 100 plus years ago. And my dad has a house there, and I love the place. And a good friend of mine, which was the Motta family.
Uh-huh.
So the Motta family actually owned this property. And then when I decided to buy the house from my uncle Motta, I decided to call the place Pousada Motta, which is a B&B,
Right.
to preserve my adopted uncle, right? In Brazil, everybody's your uncle, right? Even though
Yeah.
so Uncle Motta was a great guy,
Uh-huh.
and we decided to call the bed and breakfast
That's
Motta.
interesting. That's great because it's almost like coming back to your own roots of your infancy, right?
Yeah, that's it. When they say life goes in cycles, right?
Yeah,
I came to
spirals. Yeah.
US, done well, worked hard, and now I'm actually, won't teach you be said to. I got divorced a few years ago, and I remarried a Brazilian lady,
Oh,
which is
okay.
an awesome
Did you
partner.
meet her here or there?
Huh?
Did you meet the new wife here or there?
No, in Brazil,
Ah, in
and,
Brazil. Okay.
and she fell in love with the place as well. And I'm always looking for the next adventure, right? Either on a motorcycle or in business. So
yeah.
so
It's in your
I think I
blood.
mentioned to you as well about tiny houses is another business that I'm involved with.
Tiny houses. Wow. So I guess you have a tiny house in the bed and breakfast too. You showed me, right?
Correct. So the
Okay.
idea is the bed and breakfast is an 8 bedroom bed and breakfast with we have our own restaurant inside the bed and breakfast to serve the guests and the community. So the restaurant is actually open for anyone that wants to come. But on the surrounding of the property, I'm building this tiny house villa, which is something new to Brazil. Brazilians are now just getting to the tiny house movement.
Do you have a print that you can show? I can share the link later, but it's really cool. Do you have a print or something that you can show in the screen now?
Yeah, right now, I have to, I don't know how to retrieve that from here, but I can send to you later and you can share with
Okay,
you.
okay. Yeah, no,
But
what I was wanting to show in this interview per se, if you have some, you don't have anything printed, do you?
yeah, actually, no. Actually, hold on. Let me see here. All right.
Yeah.
Bear with me for a second.
Okay. I'm cracking up with the ruler you
There
have
you go.
there
There you go.
from
I
the
do have
old
some
time.
things print. So old school, you know, we got to use the old technology. Here you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's pretty contemporary design. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is built on wheels.
Uh-huh.
And this one here is after we get them on the site, we
Right.
built a deck around.
Right.
So that's the final product of the tiny house.
It's really cool. I love the glass, the glass, the
Yeah,
windows, you know,
yeah.
those
And by the way,
doors.
this is not, and this is my design, but the ones that I'm doing there are going to be using containers, shipping containers.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big trend now.
And I actually just and as part of the Pousada too, is going to
Whoa, wow. That's really
have
cool.
a little nice beach tennis.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing that is
And
cool
that is what there is like a barbecue place, restrooms, the construction there, the
is
little
what?
building, the building that is on front of the pool, is that restrooms and barbecue?
Oh, yeah, let me grab that back. Yeah, good question. So that is going to be
Oh, I love sauna,
the
yeah.
sauna, the barbecue, the pizza oven, the restrooms.
Right. What kind of sauna? Is that infrared, wet,
No, it's
dry?
going to be electric.
Oh,
Electric.
like infrared.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I'm really hooked up with this infrared sauna plus cold plunge. Have you heard the cold plunge? That you get into a bathtub with
yeah.
50 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Is amazing. The shock is really cool. And I heard it's good. It produces endorphins, you know, and makes you really alive and
Yeah.
good for immunity. So coming back, I have a question that just came to me. I'm thinking about the viewer that wants to move to the US and eventually do something like you did. How did you pay for your university, if you don't mind saying?
No, no. Well, I always go back to, see me traveling with a very fancy big motorcycle and travel with a 125, right? Like I told you, life's about choices, right? You got to make the choices that you want to do. If you want to travel, travel. If you want to go to graduate school, you got to go to graduate school, but you will require sacrifice.
Right, right.
Unless you have a rich dad or somebody, some sponsors that will give the money, which is
Which was not the case.
not the case. 99.9% is not the case.
Mhm.
So what I did is I worked in 3 jobs. You know, I washed dishes, I delivered pizza, and at the time I took one class. But that
Three
class,
jobs. So 3 jobs is like from 8 to like how can you fit 3 jobs in a day?
well, again, first being an entrepreneur minded, I had my own gig. I was cleaning gutters. I would be doing painting stuff. So that is on my own schedule, right?
Right.
So delivering pizza is whatever slot you can get, because everybody is crazy everybody's looking for somebody to deliver pizza, right? So they don't want to eat you five guys. If you go there, deliver pizza at a rush hour.
And that was a time that there was no DoorDash,
Yeah,
no
no, that's
Uber.
Domino's. That's Domino's Pizza. Yeah.
Right.
So I did a lot of side jobs, and what I did is when I get to graduate school, I only had money to pay for one class,
Oh, wow.
but I worked very hard and I started networking. And at that time, the one of the professors asked if I would like to be a teaching assistant, and
Wow.
and I was able to get a scholarship.
That's great.
Right. So
That's
you,
so
you saw
cool.
your mindset is how put your mind, take the fear away, set your goal, and go after what you want to do.
So inspiring. Yeah.
That's
So
been the
inspiring.
story of my life. I'm not different than anybody. Just like I said, it just is you put the desire to make things happen, and then things will happen, right? Sounds
Yeah.
cliche, but that's what it is. I mean, it happens to me, and it still happens now. This Pousada, I've been talking to this guy about buying this property for many years. The price wasn't right. He was not ready to sell, and all of a sudden, he needs the money, and he calls me, and I had to, so
That's cool.
the deal happened, right?
That's nice. Hey, I'm cracking up with the ruler you have there, the architectural T ruler there, because it's reminding me, the nostalgic times that we actually use that. I graduated in 92, and we still use that, and we still use the ink pen,
Yeah.
but then the AutoCAD was just starting. I was at UFMG, the university in the state of Minas Gerais. I was the very first person that did a 3D presentation there,
Yeah, I know. So
and nobody was used to,
yeah, which is awesome because
Yeah.
in order to do a good 3D, you gotta be an artist. That was tough.
Yeah, and it was hard because the rendering took a long time to render. The machines were much less powerful. It was a very pioneering. I have that in me too, pioneering adventure. I have that in my blood too. We have that in common. So then you married, right? And then you had kids.
You have three kids, they're all grown. So that's now
How old are they now?
the oldest Peter is 30, Mariana is 27, and Lucas is 24.
Oh,
So they're
cool.
out of the house.
Oh, they're out of the house. Okay. So they traveled with you one of those trips?
Yeah, I mean, Lucas and Peter went to Alaska with me. The second time they went to Alaska, they did that. Of course, the Mexican trip was two of them. My daughter lives in Hawaii, so it's a little hard now to have her going anywhere.
Oh, I love. Where there? Which island?
She's in Oahu.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
never went there. I like the Big Island. The Big Island has the kind of a rustic, right, feel
Very
for it.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went there to play soccer and she got a scholarship to play for Hawaii Pacific. She was a good player. Get the opportunity to go there for school and never left. So she's been there since. She's 27.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you something, just forgot I was gonna ask, but
Well,
anyway.
actually, I was going to compliment as you think about the question. One thing too that I'm exploring now, and I want to
Uh-huh.
take the opportunity to share with you one of my new passion, which is pickleball.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, I have here too, where I
So
live.
so Pousada Motta has the first pickleball court in Miguel Pereira.
Wow,
So
yeah.
we open at the Pousada Motta. We're gonna have the first pickleball court, and I was the one
Outdoor or indoor?
outdoor.
Okay.
But the interesting news is 2, 3 years ago, I took the pickleball equipment to Rio, and nobody knew what pickleball was. So I found you're familiar with Rio, right? The Lagoa, the lagoon.
Yeah.
So Ipanema Beach, Copacabana, in the back has a beautiful place at the lagoon, which is the bottom of the Christ of the Redeemer. So and I found a court that was not being utilized.
Uh-huh.
And I brought equipment and started teaching pickleball. And now pickleball is taking off in Rio after the venture.
Wow.
So
So you're
I've been
like,
called the pioneer of pickleball in Rio
wow,
with
that's
a
really cool.
bunch of
So
guys.
you painted the court like the
Yeah,
pickleball painting?
yeah. So now here's the thing that is crazy. I actually took some temporary lines,
Uh-huh.
and then the people that call fresco ball, fresco ball in Brazil.
Yeah, yeah.
So we call ourselves the pioneers, and a bunch of guys from that club love
So you
pickleball.
were pioneer of frescoball?
No,
Oh,
pickleball.
pickleball. Okay, got it.
But the fresco ball people that I met started this new pickleball club. They call the Pioneers of Pickleball
Okay.
from Rio, and the thing's taking off. And at the time, the court that was abandoned in Lagoa, we were able through Gatorade, the drink,
Right.
sponsor, and they painted the court.
Wow.
So if you want to play
Amazing.
pickleball, go to Lagoa and looking for the Gatorade pickleball court. And that was something that I gave back to my community of Rio de Janeiro and with my friends from the frescoball community. So
That's
now
great.
people now have pickleball in Brazil because of me, right?
Yeah, I fell in love during COVID. I went to YMCA and then I noticed people were playing there and I started. And they told me at that time, and that was 2020, 21, that pickleball could be going to the Olympics, become an Olympic sport. How is that now?
Well, there is a huge movement to do that. I think they're gonna go as a trial run next Olympic. There
In
is more
France?
people
In
playing
France
pickleball now
already?
than golf,
Oh yeah, I
and
agree.
more
Yeah.
than tennis. Is huge. But in Brazil, beach tennis is very popular, but not pickleball.
Yeah.
But now, at least now in Sao Paulo, I got a friend of mine there too that did the same thing, brought the sport to Sao Paulo. Now it's in Rio, but it is the capital city of pickleball in Brazil is Governador Valadares.
Oh, really? They are they still the capital city of immigrants from Brazil to the US?
Yeah,
They
they
are
still
still?
under the US don't give a visa anymore. If you're from Governador Valadares, they don't give you a visa anymore.
Oh, because people end up staying. Yeah. Yeah, that might be totally influenced from Americans or people that moved
Absolutely.
from
Yeah.
there.
So the pickleball in Brazil started Governador Valadares.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a good sport because every age can play, every body type, right?
And I called the 80 to 8, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so now Pousada MOTTA has their own court, and actually the court was built when I returned to US, so I haven't played my own court yet, so I can't wait to go back and play.
Oh, really? Yeah, we moved to a residential development here in Bastrop, and they have two pickleball courts. But during summer in Texas, you are from Texas too, it was absolutely impossible to play outdoors during summer.
And now there is a place called Chicken and Pickles. Have you heard about that?
No, I know there is also a place here that I could play, but it's also outdoors. I like to play indoors during summer.
Yeah, my club, I belong to Lifetime Fitness,
Right.
and they have indoor courts. But this place, check it out, called Chicken and Pickles,
Okay.
is just massive. It's
But
all
do they
pickleball.
have here in Austin or Bastrop, do you know?
I know in Dallas they open two facilities, and
Oh, they
it's
might have here.
superb. It's just crazy
Man,
good.
you should try the cold plunge. I think you're gonna be hooked to it. The mix of sauna with cold plunge is
I got
I
I
heard
got
Joe
I gotta
Rogan. Joe Rogan
I
is
gotta
really hooked.
research more and learn more. Send me some links.
Yeah, I will. There is this guy, his name is Hoffman. He's a very unique person. I think he went to the Everest to climb the Everest with
Uh-huh.
shorts. And he did some experiments, like he would be below the ice water, for a long time. And he created this fad. So now there's a lot of places that have cold plunges. They sell too if you want to buy. It's like a hot tub, like you buy private or you go to a gym or something.
Yeah.
And this guy is so crazy that they decided to do an experiment with him, I think it was in Stanford, and they injected E. coli virus on him. And then only with the breath and with the cold plunge, he could be free from they made a test and he was free from E. coli, which is like
Wow.
absolute. It's revolutionizing the knowledge of they think it was involuntary. What is involuntary can actually be voluntary, you know? Yeah.
No, I'm gonna check it out. I'm trying to bring unique things to the Pousada Motta. So
Oh man, if you bring a cold plunge there with the sauna, that'll be great. I will send you the
that
link
would be
and
awesome.
I'll put the link on the video too. Yeah. So what else can we talk now? So you talk about the tiny house, you talk about the architecture. Any other trip you want to share?
Well, I had a trip schedule. Unfortunately, I had a health issue uh, that I had an issue with a hernia, and I was doing the trip, a reverse trip uh,
Oh, reverse.
from Rio back to US on a VW van,
VW, what is that? VW van.
Kombi.
Oh, like the old VW van. Okay.
Yeah, old VW. So that
Like
trip,
the one that the hippies used and painted all colorful, right?
yeah, that was all scheduled, all ready to go. But unfortunately, let me see if I can. Here we go.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that
How
is
much gas that would take nowadays
God knows.
per mile, no?
No, no, I know the Kombi was all ready, and I had this last minute surgery, which is, by the way, is all good.
That's good.
But then other things happened. The Pousada transaction came,
Mhm.
and then I put this strip on the back burner. But the Kombi is ready to go, and in a few years here, you're gonna see me driving up from Rio
Yeah.
to Texas
You,
on my Kombi.
yeah. So the Posada is open at the moment or is gonna be open?
No, Pousada 100% open, or 8 bedrooms. What is missing now is finishing the pool area with the beach tennis, but the pickleball court is ready, and the tiny houses are under design right now.
Okay.
So hopefully in a couple months, the tiny house will be operational, and I'll be there. Actually, I'm there
So
in
let me see
Brazil.
if I understand. At the moment, 8 people can sleep there. And then in the future, more and more with more tiny houses, right?
Right. So it's 8 bedroom, eight
Eight
bedrooms.
bedrooms. Okay, eight
Okay.
bedrooms, so
And the
16 people.
restaurant, and the tiny houses, we are predicting between 5 and 6 tiny houses, but they're gonna be coming gradually. But there's
Okay.
one now under design, that will be the first model.
Okay. So coming back to your trips, or maybe the trip that you already talked about, you talked about Mexico and Alaska to Rio. What was the most challenging moment during those trips? What's the like that moment that is there any moment that you said, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" You know, like regretted or something?
Yeah, driving in California at 405.
Really?
Everybody asks, what's the most fearful place? California, everybody going 100 miles an hour,
More
405.
than Latin America, Central
Yeah,
America?
Latin America is easy. California, get away from California, 405 or I-5. That was
And
the
what
best.
is the most beautiful place?
I mean, crossing the Andes, uh,
Oh, that's in South America already.
South America, Machu Picchu
Mm,
is spectacular.
yeah.
And for me, it's different if you get in a plane, you fly, get to Lima, go to Cusco. But when you actually climbing the hill,
Oh my God.
10,000 feet, on a motorcycle, going up and down, and then you get to Cusco. I mean, you're conquering. It's different than get there in an airplane, right? Of
Oh
course,
yeah.
the
Oh my
place is
God,
the same.
definitely. They ain't smelling the air, you know.
And the altitude, adjusting to the altitude,
Oh,
which is
right.
really, really tough.
Gradually, right? At 55 per hour, gradually adjusting.
And then you get to Cusco, and then from Cusco to go to the Andes, right? I got to cross to go to Brazil. You cross the Andes, and I was there one time, and they're like, holy moly, there was no one
Right.
by myself.
Uh-huh.
And actually, I got to do. I don't know if I was tired because of the excitement and
Maybe
because
the
of
altitude too that don't make us think very well, right? The
yeah. But
oxygen.
I tell you, I stopped the bike one time by the road. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just smell the roses, relax, and
Right.
someone coming, and all of a sudden, I hear another motorcycle. It was like, oh my God, what is that? And this guy. I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere, nothing.
Right.
It was a guy from San Francisco doing the same thing. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
very
And
cool.
you didn't meet him before. We just met him
No,
at
no,
the
and then over there we stop, and during the cool thing about, and people think I'm crazy traveling by myself, but the
Oh,
best,
that's another thing I was gonna ask you, traveling by yourself.
yeah, I was just solo by myself.
Right.
So, but the best thing about traveling by yourself, you don't create a shield around you, right? Because if you have 3, 4, 5 guys, you create a little gang, right? Nobody wants to talk to you. I'm by myself. I park my bike, and everybody, man, where are you from? And you look at the license plate, and they start. So I start making friends everywhere I go,
Mm-hmm.
and you bump into guys like me traveling too. So in several occasions, I end up meeting people, and we share the hotel, right?
Cool. And your plate was from the US?
My plate,
Yeah, the plate from the motorcycle plate.
Washington.
Oh, US. So when you were in Central America, were you worried about, oh, this gringo here with the US motorcycle that they could mug you or something?
I mean, I'm for real. If I'm gonna be worried about being mugged, I should just buy
That's
a
right.
tank. I
Yeah, I
should buy a
forgot
tank
about
and
that.
be
Yeah.
locked in a bunker,
So
right?
you are immune. Being from Rio, you are immune for people
Or
that,
São Paulo, or São
yeah,
Paulo, or Recife, or
like,
whoever.
yeah, for those who watch City of God, the movie City of God, about the
Yeah,
Rio
yeah.
Shantytown, that is
So
not
look, you always come back to the same question. Were you fearful, right? It's always the fear. Again, so funny as we keep talking here.
yeah.
No, I had no fear. Actually, I did something very cool. I create a little sticker.
Uh,
Okay, it's kind of a, and the stickers you can glue or whatever you want to glue. Oh, actually, right here. Go, gosh, cool. There you go. I have one right here.
oh, yes. Uh-huh. It's like a
Right, the
business
freedom
card.
flag, the space needle, the Jesus, and that's the Facebook.
Oh,
Redmond,
okay, because that tower there is in Seattle, right?
yeah, and the other one is Christ, which is real. So the Redmond, Washington, is right adjacent to Seattle. Is the
Right.
headquarters of Microsoft. But anyway, so this sticker here, you talk about fear, right? So
Uh-huh.
so I don't know, I print like 1,000 of those, and you give
That's a
to
good
people.
idea. Yeah.
And I remember, one time was this big uh, uh, police barricade in Mexico, right? All those guys machine gun it. And I came, I said, oh shit, here you go. Here.
Narcos. Yeah,
And then
right.
I stopped by the guys, start talking to me, say, hey, hold on a second. I want I want you guys to be on my Facebook page. And the guys,
Yeah.
and I have something for you guys. So I go and give
Uh-huh.
that to everybody. So all of a sudden, the whole barricade is surrounding my bike, holding that, and I'm taking a picture. They
That's
never even asked
great.
for my documentation, right?
And you didn't even need to pay a bribe because
No,
I heard it. They are famous for asking for bribes, right?
I gave them the sticker,
Amazing.
told they're gonna be on my Facebook page,
That's cool. That's
and
great. It's almost like a passport you have,
yeah.
It came
And,
from a
and by
passport.
the way, one technique too for guys that want to travel, go, AAA, right? AAA
Uh-huh.
agency. So AAA, you can get there and get a international driver's license. Did you know?
Right. Yeah, because even if you have a American passport and you are in another country, you would need a driver license too, right?
Right. So I got an international driver's license, and I never once show my passport. If people park me, I take that thing. Which, by the way, I made two because if I would lose one, I have another one.
Right, right,
And through the entire trip, all I show was the AAA driver's license,
right.
which is almost like a funny little license, but it works.
Yeah,
Another tip for you guys that
yeah.
want to travel.
You talk about fear. I'm trying to remember a phrase from a book I read a long time ago. have you heard about a writer from the 60s and 70s called Carlos Castaneda?
The name is familiar, but no, no.
Yeah, he was uh like on the same time as Timothy Leary, you know, and he has some experiences with shamans in Mexico with peyote and everything. And he wrote a book. I think his first book was the 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 Devil's Weed or something. And he talks about fear, that the warrior, you know, the soldier go to war with fear. It's not that the soldier, the warrior doesn't have fear, but he goes to war in spite of fear. But he has respect. He has yeah, he has like he goes with respect. um I forgot, there's four things, and one is he also goes with fear, but in spite of that he goes, you know.
No,
Uh,
but yeah, back to the talking about the motorcycle there. What's the most fearful place? And to be honest, the whole Central America and the roads are not bad. Okay, so in most
Central
cases,
America, uh-huh.
not bad, not bad. All asphalt. I didn't go some crazy, go to the jungle to dirt roads. No, but people are very friendly.
Oh
What
yeah, for course, especially with this business card you have, right?
Yeah, no, but on top of that, I would see people because they saw I was by myself. I was putting gasoline, and people get so intrigued that here I am in El Salvador, I'm in Nicaragua, I'm in Colombia, and people in the park and say, "Oh gosh, I always want to do what you do. I never had the courage to do it." And by the way, if there is any problem, I'm Bob, and here's my card. Give me a call if you need something here in Colombia.
Wow, that's
Several
really cool.
people approach me like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
You
offering.
know, yeah, I have this experience even in the US. One time we were traveling, I think we're actually going to Corpus Christi, I think. Oh no, we were not. We're going to North Carolina. And then my car popped a tire, and it was like in the middle of the summer, probably 110 degrees that day. And I'm not the most mechanical person, and the tire exploded. It was not even, exploded. So here I am, in the middle of the road in a very small town. It was weekend, there was no store, nothing. And then actually a guy came, and then he stopped, and then he helped me all over,
Yeah, I
and
know.
and it
You know,
people, you have good people everywhere.
that's what I'm saying. The problem is the social media, the TV, and all that. All they want to show is some guy blowing in a war or something bad happening or some guy getting mugged in Rio. Majority of people are good people, and
Exactly, yeah.
and then you gotta put that aside your brain and say, move on with your life.
Yeah. And even if people have different political views or, preferences, whatever, deep inside, they're just people. They want the same thing as you and me, right?
Yeah.
Have a good life, be
At the
happy,
end of the day,
healthy.
is as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to just be. But back to the fear, which
Hmm.
everybody is always concerned, is we have no assurance to what's going to happen to us. I mean, if there's one certain thing in life, it says paying taxes and die, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Do you think about old age and death?
Again, I don't. What I see is interesting because just a few months ago I turned 60, right?
What? Really?
Yeah, yeah. So as you turn 60, you start doing math in your brain, right?
Yeah,
Is
you look seriously. You look like you're probably in the early 50s or even late 40s,
Yeah, is the new wife? That's some plastic surgery, some
Oh, you
Botox.
did? Really? No, okay. Well, Brazil is famous for that, right?
So the new wife is taking care of me. So I
Oh,
look
that's
at.
good. She's doing a
No,
good job.
but again, put the age aside, is back to the attitude, right?
Right.
And that's why one thing that I've been telling people is never stop having a project. And on the old days, people say, "Oh, never stop working," right? Oh, and you
Mhm.
hear that, "Oh, the guy worked for Boeing until he was 60, and he retired, and the year after that, the guy died, right? And you hear that all the time. People retire and die.
Oh, I know people that retired and got cancer
Yeah,
and couldn't
yeah.
travel anymore. Even if they don't die, some people might be sick, you know?
So what I tell people is what I've been doing with my life is I don't like the word retire, because retire seems like you're done,
Right.
and it should never be done. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
life should be a continuation of seeking different challenges, right? Or for me, it's find the next adventure. Is either open a new business, is bringing pickleball to Brazil, is buying a new toy, or building some new business.
Bed and
But
breakfast.
yeah, and that's what I say. Never stop having a project. I don't care if the project is going to be running a marathon. That's a project if you're going to run a marathon, or if the project is going to learn how to do crochet. I don't
Right.
care. You gotta have a project. I think that's what keep my brain going, keep myself motivated. And when people start not having goals, then they get to depression, right? You see,
Yeah. Have you, I'm saying that to you because based on me, okay? I had some episodes of depression in the past, and especially one more recently. And the depression pretty much came out of some losses that I had and some disillusions, some things that didn't go right, right? There is always an external trigger. But I, at least myself, there's many types of people, many types of depression. But in my depression, I get so down that I don't even want to do any project. I have no creativity, I have no motivation. So what would you suggest for a person if a person is in that place that even to have a project is difficult? I don't know if you
well,
can
I
say
you
anything.
know, I'm just a dumb architect with an entrepreneur by heart. So the advice to me is don't get to that place.
I know sometimes it's real, sometimes it seems really bigger than you sometimes, you know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, how can you not get to the place? Because I know when you get to the place, then sometimes you gotta go to really professional help, even have to take medicine. What I'm saying is, challenge yourself first to eliminate, learn how to live, learn how to control the fear, and don't let the fear paralyze you.
Yeah.
And create projects for yourself, because the project will create a demand of achieving a certain goal.
And you feel good with the reward, right, of
That's
achieving.
exactly
Yeah.
right. I mean, as
Yeah.
soon as when I cross the border of Mexico, I was like, oh my gosh, here I am. I'm going southbound. Then I'm
Yeah,
in
it's I
Guatemala,
mean,
I'm across the next border
you have
town.
like goosebumps, right?
Right. So you gotta create that. Okay, what's my next challenge? What's my next border? What's my next, by doing that is what I call create projects. And every human being can create their own project, right? It doesn't have to be money. Like I said, if you ride a motorcycle is a project, you can do that with a 125 Mexican motorcycle.
Right.
But the project might be, hey, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds, right? I'm gonna
Or organize my room, or
or whatever you want
yeah,
to do, right?
or help somebody. Yeah.
Volunteer work, right? I
Right.
volunteer a lot. I'm
Oh,
doing a
you
lot of
do?
volunteer now. Part of the gig of open the Pousada MOTTA
Uh-huh.
is a life commitment to give back to Brazil.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
So I could get the money that I spend in there, which is a chunk of
Mm-hmm.
money, put on the stock market or buy some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not going to be generating jobs. And now I don't want to get to the political climate in the world and in Brazil, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody is faulting the government. Oh, it's the government problem. It's either
Like blaming the government.
blaming, oh, it's either this guy or that guy. Well, what are you doing to change? So
Mm-hmm.
change from your home, change from your street, change for your community. So on that community, which is called Vale das Princesas in Petrópolis, in Miguel Pereira, where the Pousada is a community that needs the money from the weekenders that go to that place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm generating 10 jobs for that community.
Wow.
So I'm not, of course, eventually that's going to be a for-profit bed and
And
breakfast.
then you're gonna end up attracting other businesses that are gonna generate even more jobs.
Absolutely. So now, by using the entrepreneur minded, not being fearful, I'm investing on that. So now people they're there. I have messages on WhatsApp of people crying, thanking me for investing my money with the community. Because if I would not be doing that, they
That's
would not have a
so
job.
cool. Yeah,
Right.
that's so nice. That's warms our heart, right?
So
Yeah.
it's touching, right? You see these people there, they're stuck on a little villa, right? They don't really have the means to get out of there because their house is there. But if they don't have us doing some of the things we're doing, they would not get a job, right? So we already have 2 people on staff. I'm hiring a consultant. I have 10 guys working the construction field for me right now,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
So, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not waiting for either Bolsonaro or Lula, right? I'm just doing it, right?
Yeah,
You make the difference by
yeah.
generating jobs, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing you can do to help a society is be a
I
job
agree.
creator.
Yeah,
Become a job creator. Don't wait for the
right,
government, friend.
right.
That's not
Yeah.
gonna happen. The pecan is not gonna happen. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's beautiful that you went to United States, you came to United States, you were able to have a stability in life, you got some resources, and then you're going back to Brazil to invest there and to help other people there. It's like the hero's journey. Have you heard about the hero's journey?
You have a lot of things that I have to check. But it's like the cycle, right? It's the cycle.
Yeah, hero's journey. This guy, his name is Joseph Campbell, and he was a mythologist. He studied mythology, and he realized that most mythologies in history, all the stories of heroes and everything, they follow the same pattern. The hero goes to the field or to face the monster or go to the jungle, and then he killed the monster. Maybe he recovered the princess, and then he come back to his old town, and then he impart the knowledge to to those who never did the travel, and he inspires other to do the same.
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying like, and it's interesting because I go back to Brazil, and if you want to get me lose my cool and be a little bit edgy, is when I go to Brazil, I'm sitting on the beach with a couple of friends and say, "Man, you're so lucky. You went to US, and you're so lucky." And I said, "Dude, it's
Yeah, I
30
know.
some years working
uh,
many hours,
right, 3 jobs per day, three
good
jobs at the
jobs,
same time.
and now I am the luckiest guy. It's like everything came to my lap. I said, lucky is somebody that gets some inheritance and don't have to do anything, right? That might be a lucky guy, which I don't know.
Yeah.
So everything that I have to earn it. And what I'm
Mhm.
doing is just reallocating my choices. Can I get this money, put in a stock option, just sit it and see the money grow? Or can I take a risk, again, fear, allocate the money to help a community? Hopefully, I'm generating jobs,
Yeah.
and hopefully, that will inspire other people to do the same. And now the community is going to be a better community
Mhm.
than when I got there.
The beautiful thing that happens when you face your fear and then you just have courage to get into the unknown is that things happen, coincidences happen, synchronicities happen, doors open. Like when you said you met somebody, your teacher that gave you a job, that helped you to have a scholarship. That happened a lot in my life too. I
Yeah.
remember, I have a story. I moved to the US with a friend of mine, and then we knew only one person in LA, but we were like having this fear, like months before the trip, this kind of like this almost like an anxiety. And then we went to the Serra do Cipó in Belo Horizonte. Do you know? It's a beautiful national park.
Uh-huh.
Serra do Cipó, Cypress Mountain, whatever. Yeah, yeah. And then we were there walking, and then we ended up hiking to a place that was very far by the mountain. And suddenly all the sky started to get gray, gray, dark gray, everything. And it started to really pack this really big storm. And we had nothing. We just like with our clothes, and we were far from the place, and it was getting dark.
Oh man.
So that was like unnerving. So when we started going back, we saw some people that were like walking in our direction, and they actually had a tent. So we ended up sleeping in their tent. So that was a big metaphor before our trip, that we should not be afraid, because you know things happen. You meet people, and the help comes from the divine intervention or whatever. I mean, I believe in divine intervention, but it's like through that those people that were there at the moment. And we were like screwed. If we didn't find these people, I don't know. We'll be like in a big storm in the middle of nowhere, you know, dark.
No, that's good that you're sharing that, because that's what I tell people. There's Americans say that when one door closes, another door opens, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think you gotta have faith. Faith to me can be connected to religion or not. I don't care how, but
Or
even if you have
trust,
faith that,
trust and faith.
put your brain, ask for a high power to help you, right?
Right.
And it happens. It happens, right? Whatever your faith is, I don't care if you're Catholic or if you're Buddhist or whatever. But if you
Mhm.
if you get your brain to send a message to somebody to help achieve your goals,
Yeah.
I'd be fortunate that is the case, right? And
Mhm.
and be able to overcome challenges easier that way.
Mhm. So your next trip, you said you were waiting for what you were waiting again? I forgot. The
Well,
combi, the
now
combi
now
trip.
the VW bus is on the list of potential trips, but I also want to go back to ride my motorcycle to Ushuaia, which is the tip of South America.
Oh, right. It's close. It's like the harbor to Antarctica.
Yeah, so there is two extremes in Americas. One is Prudhoe Bay. Have you heard about Prudhoe Bay?
No, never.
So Google that. Prudhoe Bay is the furthest you go in the US that you can drive to the Arctic Ocean. So that was my trip to Alaska.
Well, US or Canada?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. Okay,
Yeah.
Alaska is more on the top than Canada.
Oh yeah. You're right on
Is
top.
it? Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah. You're right on top. So is US, Canada, Alaska right on top. So Prudhoe Bay is right here. You're a few miles from Russia.
Wow. Uh-huh.
So, and then Ushuaia is the extreme south, and the extreme in US is Key West, right, to Cuba.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. So anyway, now I want to do that as well, but
Uh-huh.
it's those set things. I gotta.
So 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 let's terms think about finances. 52 days, stay in hostels. Do you have any idea how much you spent from Washington to Rio de Janeiro in your bike?
Gosh, I at a time I had I done some estimating. Gasoline is gasoline, right? Whatever the gasoline price is. I was running an average of 300 miles per day to 400 miles a day, right? So
Wow,
the bike,
that's a lot of
yeah.
miles.
So the bike does. Let's see here. If the bike's doing 400 miles, 400 miles a day, divide by 40 miles per gallon, 10 gallons. 10 gallons at $3 is $3 a gallon, 10 gallons, $30, right?
$30 per day of gas.
For gas. Then you spend another $10 on hostels or cheap hotel. Let's say 10 to 15 to 20, $50. And you spend another $20 in food. So you're averaging $100 a day.
As you go down, the food gets cheaper and cheaper, right?
Yeah,
Except Brazil.
and, and, and what I did is you're not going to a resort, right?
Right.
I'm eating the side of the road. There's some days,
On gas stations, yeah.
you eat a banana, right?
Right, right,
You eat a
right.
couple of bananas
Or
and
maybe somebody invite you to their home to have lunch or whatever.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so you may average $100 a day.
And the bike that you had, which was a pretty good bike, although it's not a BMW, how much was the bike around approximately?
So the bike,
A
uh,
good bike to have those long-term travel.
so first of all, US, you have the luxury to have several different models right now that you
Mhm,
can do the trip.
mhm.
And here's my advice to you: less is more.
Right.
I would go, like I said, a 650cc bike is plenty. Of course, 125 is not a, that was
That's
advanced.
just for Mexico, Baja.
That's a Mexico, Baja, it's fine. But if that is I became kind of a motorcycle consultant for people that want to go on those trips because I've done so
Mhm,
many.
mhm.
There's a Honda 500 that is very nice. Kawasaki has a 650 that is very nice. Suzuki
Mhm.
still make the V-Strom, which is they have now a 800cc. So Honda is making two beautiful bikes. Honda has an Africa Twin and has another one that just came up. So Honda has four models that you could do that trip. And you're talking about there is a Honda 700. My son has that bike. You can buy that bike used in great shape for new is probably 8,000. You can buy used for $4,000 or $5,000.
It's very affordable, yeah.
And
So
you not
when
it's the same as the BMW, to be honest. There's
right,
no.
right. Yeah, you just don't have the same status. From Washington to Rio, how old were you when you did this trip?
So I turned 60 this year. That was my 50th birthday present.
Wow,
So that's why I
amazing.
was doing the 60 on my VW bus, but then
Right.
I opened the bed and breakfast instead. So it's a different
Okay, yeah, that's a good exchange.
thing.
So, okay, so you are 50. How about your back, your butt, like driving a motorcycle? What is the person needed to have like some kind of fitness to do this trip?
I'm so glad you're talking about that
Mm,
because I think the biggest thing that we be talking here is fear.
mm-hmm.
The thing that we haven't talked, which for me is the killer of this century, with depression, which is stress.
Right.
Everybody is under such a load of stress. I don't know if
Never has never before. It's like the world requires more and more machine-like people than people, you know?
so. The stress is horrendous. So you ask about rephrase your question.
I'm asking about like, do you need to be physically fit to do this
Yeah.
trip, like to do gym? Because how about your back and your butt, you know?
Well, and that's why I went to talk about stress.
Okay.
So here I am, right, getting ready for this trip. I own my business. I had my team already. I said, look, I'm gonna be gone for a couple months. So I had the pressure to leave everything ready for this sabbatical, right?
Right.
So I'm under a lot of stress. My back was killing me.
Mm-hmm. Low back?
I am going to endure a 13,000 miles, 22,000 kilometers in a motorcycle for two
Mm-hmm.
months.
Mm-hmm.
And my back was just awful.
Where? Low back?
Low back, terrible.
Neck?
But here's the thing. I went to chiropractor. I started doing stretching. I did everything you could possibly want to do.
Acupuncture? Acupuncture?
Acupuncture. You name it, I've done it. And here's the thing. I told him, because today, all you need to be in business is something like that, right? You can be in business anywhere in the world. So I said,
Right.
but if you keep working as I travel, it's dangerous because your brain start not focus on a goal, on a trip. When I get to the border of Mexico, I call my partners and my staff. I said, guys, I don't want to hear. If hell freeze over, I will fix when I get back. I don't care. I
So
don't
from Washington to Mexico, you are still kind of
know. To
exchanging
the
some.
US to the Mexico border, I made my last phone call to the office.
Wow.
And I said,
But until then, you were calling every day?
yeah, I just gotta try to get engaged on the trip. At that point, I said, at that point, I'm dead and I'm gonna be resurrected when I get back. And,
Right,
and
that's
you
right.
and I don't care if hell freezes over, you guys fix it.
Uh-huh.
There is a problem, is your problem, it's not my problem anymore.
Well, good thing you have good people taking care of your
Very
company
good,
too.
very good. That's the key of any business, right?
Oh yeah.
First,
Yeah.
but here's back to the question about healthy, fit.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I was wreck
Mm.
across the border. Now I'm in, Mexico, Guatemala. When I was getting to Nicaragua, I just realized something. My back was not hurting
Wow.
at all, at all.
Wow. Amazing. It's so psychosomatic, those things, like psychosomatic,
So then what I started realizing when it started hurting is because I was dehydrated,
Mm.
right? Because of course your spine is a lot of liquid, right?
Yeah.
So, but I was in pain most of the time before the trip, and now I'm driving 10 hours a day in a motorcycle, and I'm no pain.
Man, makes me want to do that too. I think most of the viewers that are listening to us are going to be quite excited to do it. So when you do those trips, do you also think about sponsorships or something like some documentary people to document your trip? Have you ever thought about it? Because there's a lot of Netflix documentaries about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And there's a girl called there's a site called Itchy Boots. Is this Dutch girl? She's making millions of dollars. I didn't want to be a job.
Okay, got it.
If you want to go on their round, my son is a videographer. That's why he did the Baja Bounties. I don't know. Have you seen how many episodes?
I saw one episode. I got so busy, but I really want to see
So
others.
it's episode one. But my son has the technology, knows how to do the editing. The thing is not to do videos, right? You can do videos. Oh, it's the editing, right? Because nobody want to
It's
see
the
it.
story, yes, the
It
story.
is toward the editing, and you get you that, and it becomes a job. That's my stress relief.
Got it. Yeah.
You
You know,
and
I don't remember the name of the document. I think it was a movie, not a series, but is in Netflix or Amazon Prime. Is this guy that had PTSD as a veteran here, and he almost killed himself. He saw himself with the gun to his head, and he said, "I'm not gonna do that in name of all my friends," because he experienced a lot of deaths from his friends that either died in a war or they ended up taking their own lives when they came back with PTSD. So he decided to do a boat trip from the US to, if I'm not, I don't know if that's on the tip of the South America, like you said, or was the tip of Africa. I don't remember. I think it was Africa. I think it was like what's the name? Cape something on
Cape
Africa.
Town.
No, it was Cape something. Is where the Portuguese discovered like many
Okay.
centuries ago. So he went there and he uh he talks about his trip during this whole time, and he actually had to interrupt the trip, and then he came back again. So after so many struggles and so many challenges, they almost died one day in a storm. Now he has a company that, not a company, he has an organization that help other veterans to do the same, to deal with PTSD.
Nice,
That's really
nice,
cool.
very
Yeah,
cool.
maybe it's an idea for you in the future, maybe.
Yeah, but my sponsorship and stuff.
No, 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 it's not a sponsorship. It was a movie. And the
Okay.
movie ended up being in him creating an organization to help others do what he did as an inspiration.
I don't know.
But Pousada Motta might be taking your whole time for a long time.
Posada Walk is my new adventure right now, and it's taking a lot of my time, but I'm having a blast. It's
That's
looking
cool,
good. The
man.
place is awesome,
That's
and
cool.
I became the talk of the town now, right? Because Pedro's and I'm a little intense, so I want to get in place and people know I'm in town because I have the drive, I have the desire to make things happen. So and I'm bringing pickleball, and now I'm challenging that is a abandoned football field that I want to convert into a multi-purpose how to call multi-purpose sports. So you can get
More
basketball,
complex,
football.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
so in any case, so that's another job that I'm working now. I'm getting because that is political, right? Because it's always a half dozen people that don't want to change. and I'm there already stirring the pot and said, no, this is for the community. I'm gonna raise the money. I'm gonna get that done. And people just I'm now having people signing papers, endorsing the vision.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
pretty cool.
So in the US, since you like adventure, have you ever hunted here or fishing or what do you do here in terms of adventure besides motorcycle, if you
Yeah,
do so?
I like guns, but I'm not a hunter. I can go to Costco and buy a fish that is already clean, so I'm not gonna be. And I can get a filet mignon already cut, so I'm not gonna be hunting either. My kids like to hunt and to fish. I like target shooting. I always been a competitive guy,
Uh-huh.
so I like pistol shooting. So I do pistol shooting competition, but I'm not any, you know, I just do as a hobby. So that's one of my hobbies, is shooting competition. But
Do you still have family in Brazil?
oh yeah. My family's still there. Yeah.
What do you think about what's happening there, leaving politics aside, because it's a very, you know, kind of dangerous waters to swim nowadays and very hot waters. But what do you think? What's the future of Brazil? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm very radical about my thought process because I don't believe in government. I think government is an institution that is to regulate. When governments start becoming job creators, that's a problem.
Mhm.
So they get distracted from regulating to job creators, and they are not good job creators. Elon
No.
Musk is a job creator.
Mhm.
Bill Gates is a job creator. Steve
Mhm.
Jobs is a job creator. The Boeing guys is a job creator. Government is just regulating, which you should have. And what's happening is even with this country, people try to eliminate the job creators. So
Mhm.
now you're a job creator, you are evil. Oh, the guy has $1 billion. Who cares? Who cares? The guy has $1 billion. He's
Mhm.
creating multi-million jobs. He's feeding billions of families.
Mhm.
So everybody now, and then the government wants to be the job creator. So forget which spectrum of the government you are in.
Oh, the politics. Mhm.
Government is not a job creator.
Mhm.
Job creators create opportunities, they create growth, they generate tax revenue, and that's what moves economies.
And they don't, and not only creating jobs, but also giving money to people, like people become dependent on the government, right?
Well, look at
That's
every single multi-billionaire. Usually, their wives or significant others have unbelievable nonprofits.
mhm.
You don't do that. If Bill Gates would be working for the government, guess what? Redmond, Washington would not exist. We will not be
Mhm.
talking here,
Mhm.
right? If
Mhm.
uh, if uh, I remember the Russian days, the cars in Russia was a piece of junk, right? Now
Oh,
here,
the Lada, right? Lada?
yeah,
That was
and
the
here comes
brand.
Elon Musk and develop an electric car and is kick everybody's butt that has been making cars for 100 years,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So we need job creators, and people don't get it.
Mhm.
They always, everybody wants to pass the exam in Brazil. How do they call?
Oh, like a concurso, né? Like
Concurso. I want to
yeah.
pass the concurso. So I
It's
can
like
get,
in English. How concurso would be in English? A contest?
will be, I don't know,
It's
but
like a contest to have a governmental
well,
job, right?
it's a
With a
qualified
test,
test
qualify. Yeah.
to be hired by the government. So
And
because
then once you're hired, you cannot be fired anymore.
cannot be fired. But again, back to the fear, right? Everybody has this mindset about security. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. So okay, I'm gonna work for Bank of Brazil. I'm gonna work for whatever. So now I'm secure. I'm gonna work for whatever entity the government is because now I got a job. I mean,
As if secure would guarantee that you're going to be alive for the rest of your life, that you
no,
cannot die the next day of an
or
accident, right?
happiness. And in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, it's the opposite because they get to those jobs. they feel the sense of security, and they are bored to death. So they start cheating, they start stealing, they start not going to work. And
And boredom, inertia,
yeah, in the
not
private
not
job, the
happy with the
private sector,
job. Yeah.
you gotta dance. You don't perform, you out.
Yeah. So for those who are listening to us and are working in a job like that, or even not a governmental job, a job that they don't like, that they feel they're like private of their freedom and they want to do something else with their potential, or they are just like not feeling kind of stuck, right? What's your advice for people? Like what those people should do or could do to change their lives?
When I came here, I delivered pizza, I washed dishes. I didn't want to be on that life.
Mm-hmm.
I changed.
Mm-hmm.
I changed.
And that being an architect already, it's not
Yeah,
like you
I was
didn't
already,
have.
but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't speak English. I couldn't, so I was limited to that. But what did I do? Well, I set my next project. My next project was to learn the language. Learning the language, I could apply to go to the university. Go to the university, I could get a better job. When I
Mm-hmm.
got to get a better job, and I became a licensed architect, I opened my own business.
Mm-hmm.
So is the choices and what people back to the fear, and people have the freedom to make choices. Everybody has the freedom to make your own choices, right?
This word security, that gives me even the chills nowadays, because the same word is being used for reasons that we are not. I mean many things are done today in name of security. The whole pandemic, you know what I'm talking about, security. And then you are in the airport and you have to be like in the x-ray, and you have to be like totally, big brother on you in name of security because of the terrorists. So this security is a very key word nowadays.
And everybody has this mentality, and more. And I'm gonna tell you that for my personal background, my dad worked for the government,
Hmm.
and my dad wants
But
me.
that was another generation too, right?
Yeah, but at the time, you work for the government, there's a sense of security, right? Because now he can retire and he has a good pension. Yeah. What I'm saying is, doesn't happen anymore. And even
Doesn't.
when it did happen, in my opinion, it limits the people's. The biggest gift we have as humans is be creative and to
And freedom. Yeah.
have
Hmm.
a choice to change and improve.
Yeah.
So what this whole thing happens, and I see that happens even with my family, is that people that end up being comfortable. They are not putting yourself on a position to be challenged, right?
Yeah.
So in a
And
comfortable stage, you don't grow.
yeah, one word that I associate with comfort is the word inertia, which is the tendency of some object to stay in place if it's unmovable, or to move on the same speed if it's moving, right? That's
Yeah.
pure inertia. And I had a spiritual master in Brazil that he used to say that the inverse of inertia was movement. Like life was about movement, change.
It's funny to say that because I opened my own company. By the way, I opened with my own funds. And I had several hiccups, right? I had
Hiccups or pickups?
hiccups meaning
Hiccups, problems,
issues, problems. Yeah,
challenges. Mhm.
huge problem.
Life,
I
yeah,
opened
basically.
a company and the airplanes hit the towers in New York. Next thing you know, everybody don't paralyzed, no projects. And here I am. Geez, I opened my own practice, 2000, boom. Then I had 2009 with the economy crashing. So I have
I
some,
got hit. I got hit with that big time
yeah.
too.
So I had to readapt to what I was doing. Then was everything getting better? Boom, I got hit by pandemic.
Hmm.
So then I recovered by pandemic and got hit by divorce,
Oh man,
right?
yeah.
So I even joke that now I'm 50% off, right? Because when you get divorced, you have to split your wealth, right? But
Oh, right. So you had to.
yeah, I mean, but it is what it is, right? It's
Right, right.
you know, we live together. She has
Mhm.
to earn half of everything we built together.
And she is the mother of your three kids.
Yeah, but it's fine. She's a great lady. You know, she just decided she didn't want to be with me, which I was, you know, took
You
a risk.
said, I think you briefly said in the brief conversation we had that she had a hard time with the pandemic, right?
She did. You know, pandemic was hard for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it was really
And
hard.
but again, not get into the minutia of what happened. I just respect her wish to
That's great.
move on with her life and accept that and readapt, right? And
Hmm.
readapt. Actually, I remarried, and I'm building up again. And no
That's great.
resentment, right? No resentment, no hard feelings. It is what it is, and that's why people get stuck with these resentments and these bitterness and people
And
get
victimization, right?
oh,
Victimization is a big
victimization
thing.
now is out of it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's out of control. Everybody's a victim, right?
Yeah. One thing that you said, you really hit a light on me because you said about fear. And I'm thinking like, although I had the trigger of my depression episodes, uh, I told it's like it's usually something external that didn't go through, like a hiccup, right? Or something that I was expected that didn't go the way I wanted. But there was always an underlying fear. Oh, now what's gonna happen? What's going to happen with me professionally, financially, security? Am I going to be safe? And that was the trigger of all depressions. Yeah,
Yeah.
fear is a
Well,
big thing.
with my divorce, what do you think, right? I was married for 33 years, right? So all of a
Mm.
sudden, what happened? Right? We're going to be leaving now, you know?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's another story. But I packed my bag and decided to start over. I came to Texas with nothing from my previous life. I start from
What? But you didn't bring 50% of your previous life?
no, no. What I'm saying here is, I came with my car and left everything behind. I
Are you
mean,
kidding me? Really?
yeah, yeah. And I said, I'm gonna,
How old were you? How old are you, Pedro?
was 3 years ago.
Wow.
So, and why did I do that? I said, you know, I've done that before. I came from
Mm-hmm.
Brazil with a backpack. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so actually, I have more than a backpack. I have four wheels. When I came to US, I didn't have four wheels, and I decided to start over and new beginning. So I came here and I found a house. A friend of mine had a house, and I became house sitting. I don't know if you guys know what house sitting is, but is a person that was going to Brazil for a long time, and I was taking care of her house. But I didn't bring a chair or a sofa or a TV. Nothing. I brought a couple little things with me, my laptop, and I start over again from zero.
Wow. That's
So everything
amazing,
that I
man.
built for 33 years, I left behind.
That's amazing.
So
That's
and again, you know, yeah, it's fearful, but you control your fear and you set new goals, new projects,
Mhm.
like I told you, and life goes on, right?
How did you know Luis, which is our common friend, architect from Brazil? He's from
So
Rio too, right?
yeah, he's coincidentally from Rio. A friend of mine, Jay Bergman, went to Los Angeles one time and knew somebody that knew him. And
Right,
you know, there's not that many licensed architects from Brazil, right? Like I said,
right.
you actually in the US, just to qualify, you cannot call yourself an architect unless you have a license, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have to call yourself designer, whatever. And I found out he was not just a licensed architect; he had his own practice.
Right.
So I thought,
Successful, by the way.
huh?
Successful, by the way.
Very successful, very great guy.
Mhm.
And then I'm very outgoing, so I reach out to him because my office, I opened another office in California.
Mhm.
So I had with this other office in California. I reach out to
This
him.
is when you were in Washington, you opened another office there.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
opened an office in California, and I had an office in Dallas as well. So with that, I met the guy. We get along. You're classic Carioca, right? He's very outgoing. We have similar personality, and I
And he
reached.
likes to help other people too, right?
Oh yeah, very good guy.
Yeah.
And what he saw in me and started inspiring him because he wants to ride a motorcycle, and he was.
Oh, yeah.
He actually got a motorcycle. Now, next year, I'm trying to get him to buy some guns, which
In California, it's a little weird, right?
But anyway, so he's now riding motorcycles. We became friends. Actually, I helped him buy a condo in Brazil. He actually bought from a friend of mine. So we've been comparing notes. The kids are the same age. The daughters play soccer too. So there's a lot of common things between us, and we became very good friends.
Yeah, I have a story about Luis that I really respect him. First of all, I didn't know almost anybody in LA, and I was working with 3D for architecture, and then he kind of took me under his wing and started introducing me to all kinds of people. I ended up working for other architects, and there was a time that he said, "Oh, I have a friend of mine that works for Sony. Maybe you can send a resume for Sony and work with computer graphics there." And here I am, like knocking the door of Sony because of Luis. And then one day he calls me very excited. He said, "Moses, guess what happened? I was at the conference in Mar-a-Lago. It was like a HOA kind of thing, like a resident thing. And Donald Trump was there. That was like way before Donald Trump became a president. And Donald Trump was there. And Luis is so outgoing. He came to Donald Trump and he introduced himself as an architect of the area. That was the golf club that he wanted to do there. And Donald Trump hired him right away. He said, "Call my agent." And we ended up doing projects for Donald Trump. And then I did the 3D at the time through Luis, Donald Trump. So I can tell anybody that I did something, for somebody that became a president.
Yeah, Luis is
he's amazing.
Yeah, he is a great guy. Yeah.
That's great, man. So we are here in 2 hours. What do you want to continue? What's your feeling?
I think you cover a lot of ground. I think it's great. I got a lot of stuff coming up too. So
okay, so yeah, 2 hours is a good time. I think we talked about a lot of valuable things. Yeah. Thanks so much again, Pedro, for your time and
absolutely
and inspiration. Okay.
And we need to now talk about 3D with my venture with my counterpart in Brazil. So we can do that offline. See if you can help.
Okay, great. Okay. All right. Take care, man. Okay.
God bless.
See you. Take care.
Thanks for the podcast. Okay.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.